The 29th Infantry Division, the two regiments from the 29th that were attached to the 1st, landed on Dog Green sector of Omaha Beach. If you've watched Saving Private Ryan, that opening scene is filmed to resemble what was going on in Dog Green sector. Hello, I'm Dr. George Grassman, and I serve as the staff historian at the Camp Landing Museum. Today I'm going to be speaking with you about units that were called Spearhead Units. There were over 150 units that trained here at Camp Landing during World War II, and of those greater than 150 units, 9 of them were infantry divisions. And out of those 9 infantry divisions, 4 of them were spearhead divisions. The leading division or leading unit in an assault is called a spearhead unit. Perhaps the most difficult of spearhead attacks or spearhead units, the most difficult attack is that of an amphibious invasion. So all 4 units that are spearhead units at Camp Landing were spearhead units in an amphibious invasion. The 1st, 29th, 36th, and 31st Infantry Divisions were spearhead units in World War II. Let's look first at the Normandy Invasion, 6 June 1944. In that invasion, the 1st and the 29th Infantry Divisions were spearhead units. The 1st and the 29th both landed on Omaha Beach. And 2 infantry regiments of the 29th were temporarily attached to the 1st Infantry Division for the attack on Omaha. Omaha Beach in Normandy was the worst of the Normandy beaches. Had the highest level of casualties, had the greatest concentration of German troops, and the most significant of the fortifications the Germans had installed on the Atlantic Wall. The 29th Infantry Division, the 2 regiments from the 29th that were attached to the 1st, landed on Dog Green sector of Omaha Beach. If you've watched Saving Private Ryan, that opening scene is filmed to resemble what was going on in Dog Green sector. The 1st landed further to the east of the 29th regiments, and partway through the 1st Infantry Division's sector of Omaha Beach, you'll find the Normandy American Cemetery, in which are buried the men who were killed in the Normandy and associated campaigns. The 36th Infantry Division was a spearhead unit twice. The first of these events was Operation Avalanche, the invasion of Salerno, Italy. So the 36th was a spearhead unit, and the Salerno invasion happened after the Sicily invasion. So in the Mediterranean theater, we had first the North Africa campaign, where Rommel and his troops are defeated. Then we had the invasion of Sicily. Sicily is occupied, and then the Allies moved on to mainland Italy. And on the 9th of September 1943, the 36th Division landed at Paestum and became the first U.S. unit to fight on the European continent. The Germans launched a fierce counterattack, whole series of counterattacks that is, between the 12th and the 14th of September, but the 36th managed to hold on and repulse those attacks. The 36th had some help from the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment, which made a parachute drop to reinforce the men of the 36th. Nevertheless, the 36th Division suffered 4,000 casualties in the invasion of Salerno. The 36th starred in another invasion. Many of you know about the invasion in Normandy, 6 June 1944. You may not know that there was a second invasion in France, 15 August 1944, when the Allies landed in southern France. So for the U.S., the 3rd, the 36th, and 45th Divisions were pulled out of Italy and did the attack on southern France. 36, one of those units, a Spearhead unit, followed by a chase of the Germans up the Rhone River Valley. The 36th formed a blocking position just north of a town called Montélimar. And they blocked, using what was called Task Force Butler, blocked the Germans' movement up the Rhone River Valley, and the 3rd Infantry Division then pounded on the Germans, creating an immense roadblock and significant losses. The 4th of our Spearhead units is the 31st Infantry Division. And the 31st Infantry Division was a Spearhead unit on the island of Mauritia. So the 31st is operating in the Pacific Theater, and in mid-September of 1944, the 31st landed on Mauritia. The initial response by the Japanese was pretty weak. So the 31st was able to get ashore. They were fortunate in that the weaker Japanese response was fortunate for the 31st Infantry Division, because the Navy had chosen a series of beaches that were very difficult to get to. Just offshore, there was a significant amount of mud, and the soldiers had to wade through that mud and tidal waters in order to reach the beach. Japanese response was relatively weak until later in the month of September, as the 31st moved up into Mauritia, the Mauritia, northern portion of Mauritia. Then the Japanese resistance stiffened, and the fighting was on. But eventually the 31st was able to overcome the Japanese resistance. So why was camp landing important in training of Spearhead units? Well, a major reason is we had a whole variety of different kinds of training facilities here. Using the lake, Kingsley Lake, we were able to simulate amphibious landings. We had significant forest, which allowed training in wooded areas. And then there are portions of camp landing that resemble more a jungle kind of atmosphere. And so we were able to train soldiers for service in the Pacific Theater. So thank you for joining us once again for another camp landing video. We really appreciate the opportunity to bring these history videos to you. We look forward to continuing to bring those to you. We encourage you to do two things. First, we'd like you to come out and visit with us. We're here every day from noon to 4. Second, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get advance notice as we post new videos. So for our museum staff and for all of the volunteers who work here at Camp Landing, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. And this is Dr. George Cressman signing off.